All right. Well, welcome to a Saturday version of Introduction to Psychology. Um, and how many in here are ECE students? The ones, I think pretty much everyone, right? Okay. No, except you. So, and okay. So, um, I don't know where I was going to go with that train of thought, so we'll move on from there. So, all right. um, My name's Curtis Peterson. I am the full-time faculty for social sciences and social services at TOCC, and I actually just started in fall, so it's been an adventure, and I've really enjoyed being here so far. So I hope y'all don't ruin that for me. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Um, just to kind of tell you a little bit about me, and then what we'll do is I'll give you an introduction to me and then an introduction to what psychology is. And then we will go over, I'll have you introduce yourselves to me, and then we'll go over the fun syllabus because that's always a fun part of starting a class, right? Always gets energy going. And then we will go from there, okay? So to tell you a little bit about me, academically, I am a social psychologist. So what I study is the relationship between individuals and people around them. So that can include anything from how society, culture, community, or family can influence individual behavior and mental processes to intimate relationships and how those dynamics work. Okay. My areas of specialty or expertise is in the area of identity, loneliness, and intimate relationships, mainly in intimate relationship formation. So when we get to those areas, we'll talk about those quite a bit. So um, I've been teaching for 8 years now. Um, I started in Yuma at Arizona Western College, and it was really hot there, so I decided to go to Montana. It's really cold there, so I'm back to Arizona to warm up for a while at least, and see how it goes from there. But I think I enjoyed being warm more than cold and dark. Um, so I've taught for Arizona Western College, University of Montana, NAU, University of Phoenix, and there's one other place. Oh, Grand Canyon University. And all in psychology, social sciences, social services, social work, criminal justice, all of those social sciencey type of areas. So that's kind of where I come from. Introduction to Psychology is actually one of my favorite classes to teach because it kind of goes over the whole breadth of psychology. And that's one thing I do have to say is we'll be moving through a lot of topics. In a very rapid way in only 7 classes. But to kind of pass off and make introduction to psychology transferable, we have to get through 11 topics. So, and I think those are kind of listed in the syllabus, but we got to get through all 11 of those in order for this class to be transferable. Okay. So before teaching, I was also in the field of social services. I've worked with victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. I've worked with female inmates who were in the prison system for a very long time because they tended to be the most violent offenders for women. So I worked with women who were on death row, sexual assault, rape, all of those kind of more violent crimes. I did that for a few years. And then I went and worked with children who were sexually abused. And I did that for several years before starting to teach. So that's kind of my background in social service area. And one of the main reasons I teach is because I think education is a good way to break those types of cycles that people get in. Um, so that's me. Any questions? All right. All right. So what I want to do before I have you introduce you is I want to introduce you to psychology and what it is. So we'll start with a definition. The first thing is if we break up the English word of psychology, of course, all logos or ology just means knowledge or study of knowledge. Okay. The word psyche actually means mind. In fact, if we literally translate it to its Greek origins, it actually means breath, because what the Greeks believed is that you received your mind or your soul when you take your very first breath. You breathe in your mind or breathe in your soul. And then when you take your last breath, you breathe out your soul. And then your soul goes on to its next phase. And this has really set up, as we'll get into later, one of the bigger debates within psychology is this thing we call the mind or the soul something separate from or the same as our physical body? Okay? And as we'll see in a little while, that's still of great debate and really has not been solved as of yet. Okay? In more modern terms, I should note that psychology is both a science and a profession. Okay? Profession meaning we have applied psychologists who work with businesses to improve business processes. There's human factor psychologists that interface with electronics and technology to increase human efficiency with them. To IO psychologists who work with businesses to improve customer satisfaction. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Their job is to improve the profit line by increasing behaviors of consumers and the people. And I'll explain that a little bit later this afternoon about a friend of mine who works for Las Vegas casinos. And we'll talk about that. There is also clinical psychologists. These are the people that most people associate with psychology. These are the folks that assess and treat severe mental illnesses. So that's probably what psychology is most known for, is kind of the mental health area. And it's rightly so. Psychology is made up of 51% clinical psychologists. And so it's not surprising that that's our main reputation. So, but we are also a science. We use a scientific method both in practice and in research, and I'll show you how that works this afternoon. And our goal is, if we were to put a modern definition to psychology, it is the scientific, meaning that we use objective methods to investigate or to study behavior and mental processes. Behaviors are those things that I can directly observe. So I can see you do things. If I put a machine on your head, I can see what your brain's doing, okay? And I can measure certain physiological reactions. So those are all behaviors, okay? But the other thing that we study is mental processes. And as a psychologist, if you want to think of it this way, these are everything that I, as the psychologist or the scientist, do not have direct access to. Meaning that I have to go through you. So these include how you feel, how you think or what you're thinking about, your memories, all of those things that are inside that I don't have direct access to, I have to ask you or investigate it in an indirect way. Okay? So in psychology, this is the scientific study, but we got to note that there's actually different types of psychology, okay? We all are, in a sense, psychologists, okay? And a good example of this is let's say we haven't gotten to know each other very well, right? Okay? But what would you all start thinking if I got on top of this table and started to dance? Okay? You'd laugh, but what would you instantly start doing? What's that? You'd start thinking I'm crazy. Some of you might run. Some of you might relax, okay? But you would all start investigating what's up with this nut job, right? I mean, that's abnormal behavior. But we do this all the time, right? When we walk into a room, right? We scan the room. Who's safe to sit by? Okay? And we start making psychological judgments. Maybe not her, maybe him, maybe, until we come to some type of logical conclusion of who we should sit by and who we shouldn't. Okay? Our personal psychology is based on our personal experiences, our life history, what family has taught us, maybe what teachers have taught us, and we build these models of people. And if you think about it, you guys did a pretty good job, okay? Because you're here. So y'all have done really good as psychologists so far, okay? The other type of psychology is popular psychology. This is the stuff. This is the Facebook personality tests. The Am I Sexy or Not in the Cosmopolitan magazines. This is the stuff that you see kind of blogged by semi-professionals who think they know something or whatnot and just need to express it. This can be self-help books, okay? It's everything that, as we will see when we investigate pseudopsychologies, these are things that are based in fact, but they've been filtered through someone's personal experience and then expressed that way, okay? And are meant to be expressed to the mass individuals, okay? And again, this stuff is very helpful for a lot of people, okay? A good example of this is what is the name of it? Languages of Love, where there's like 4 languages, right? Okay. From a scientific perspective, is there evidence of 4 languages? The answer is no, there isn't. There's no scientific precedence for the languages of love. But if you've asked people who have used that book, has it improved your relationships? Has it improved your communication? They will say, yes, it has. Okay? So the thing I want to take away is even though we might not have scientific precedence for a lot of stuff in the popular culture, if it provides meaning and purpose for the individual, that's enough. Okay? And then we have what we'll study in this class, and that's scientific psychology. So this is everything that we have or have not shown in a lab setting or using a scientific method to show if this exists or not, okay? And this is what we're going to focus on. But again, I just want to make a point. The point of this class is not to change anyone's personal psychology, because it's worked for you and it's given your life meaning, okay? The goal of this class is to add to your psychology. So when you're faced with a situation you don't know what to do with, you can kind of get in that magical sack and go, well, I learned this and maybe this will work, okay? So that's one thing I want to say about this class up front, because sometimes students feel like we're trying to change them, and that's not what I want, okay? Everyone's a beautiful human being as they are. Just want to add to or maybe enhance, okay? All right. And we'll talk more about these different types of psychologies as we move along, but I just wanted to bring this up front, okay? So this is where we get to introducing you, and I'm going to turn this on.